Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Thankfully, this is going to be interesting because my brain is totally elsewhere and I don't remember anything that happened last session. So, I'm just going to start talking and eventually something insightful will come of it. Alright, last session, some stuff happened. If I remember correctly, there was a vampire thing that happened a while ago, and we've been going through some stuff there. We had a beloved character named Pax who's passed on, and we may never, ever get to see him again, which is very unfortunate. You're going to be hearing a lot of soundboard shenanigans going on in the session, unless Zach says otherwise, because Thomas very recently has made a new discovery within himself and has, yes, has like
It's called clit.
childish. Yes, he has found. He has childish instincts that he must tap the dopamine button whenever he can.
It may sound like
Now-
you don't have it.
The clit.
Actually, anybody with a fart joke. on the stage.
Okay, so last session,
Oh,
what
it's-
happened? Since I picked apparently the one person to do the intro who had no clue what happened last session.
He packed.
You guys finished your time in team, went down to the Vox camp, saw the dead body of Pax, decrepit, deformed, tiny as it was, spoke with Entrati and Craven and Finch about stuff, possibly with Finch about some future plans of maybe the Vox taking care of that portion of the Caladrian Empire in terms of these umbral occurrences. Taking the body and Entrati back to Revedan, you guys spoke a little bit, got the body of Pax put in a healing room below the academy, and then kind of all disperse, knowing that you'd be coming back in a couple of hours to have a full-on family meeting about the upcoming Festival of the Rise. So people split up. Thomas went, got washed up. Same with Aiden. Kind of did some things. Rikus eventually coming by to speak with Leopold. And they had a very, very cool heart-to-heart for a little bit. I had to just let that one ride. Lennon immediately locked himself in his room, taking down, trying to decipher this note from Varys that he's had for I don't know how many sessions at this point.
I don't know. When did we talk
Sakir,
to
what
them?
exactly does Sakir remember what Sakir did? I
Of
know
course,
you.
Pierre does, and I'm starting to as well.
What did Sakir do last session, Mr. Introman?
Oh yes, so Sakir last session, if Jade remembers correctly, he went to the library, but not the library he'd get kicked out of, but instead the one in the academy. It took him some time, but he was able to find some books on some topics that he was interested in. He didn't get a lot of reading done, but he was able to get the books taken with him, so maybe later he'll be able to get more reading. Though, the main thing he did was communicate with this dagger that he's finally attuned to.
Yes, he did.
A dagger which is extremely racist and only likes to kill certain types of people.
It only likes
You like anal.
living blood too, so it's not a
Right.
necrophiliac. At least we know that.
Very, very picky.
Yeah.
Or arguably it is, because it wants undead blood. Don't at me.
At least
Anyway,
it has standards.
at least it has standards. So, we left off. Since we went late, we were unable to get to what Nate was doing that evening. So, that is where we begin. As Wayne, what exactly are you doing this evening? Are you going to head back to Martha and Gerald's, see how exactly things have been going? Maybe get some good food? Like, what are we looking at tonight?
Yo, I got you, Wayne.
We'll go find Periwinkle. We're gonna go on a nice ride around town.
Go find Perry, Wayne.
We're gonna stop off at the bank so I can deposit some bags.
Okay.
3 bags to be specific.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go back to Martha's place and get some cookies.
All right.
She makes some fire
She
fucking cookies.
does make some fire-ass cookies. Jade, you've had your hand up. Speak your words quickly.
Oh, call me whenever. Did we get paid?
Yes.
You guys got some money last session, yeah?
500 gold each.
500 gold each. Lennon, go ahead and add what I owe you to your sheet.
How much
done.
do you owe me?
I
You owe
forgot.
like, I think it was like 800 or 900.
No. It's like, okay, I'll go find my notebook.
Wait,
One sec.
Yeah, why
No,
do
it
you
was
not
like
have your notebook
1200.
for D&D in front of you for the D&D session?
Because I kind of plugged in my microphone right away. Sorry, Nate, you can keep going. Now I'm gonna mute
Okay,
myself.
Nate, so as you kind of stop by, you take Periwinkle, me and you need to discuss this. How much longer is his penance?
He had 47 days the last time I was in town, but I can't remember how long we've actually been out of town.
Okay, you've been out of town for 4 days now.
4 days?
So, 43 days. So we're going to pull up the calendar, and I'm going to make a note on that day of
I was
this.
just decreasing it every time, but we've literally spent, 6 months to do, 1 week? You only had, a
Okay,
month and a
a
half.
lot more than a week, but, 2.5 weeks isn't that much more. So, so 43 days. Today is the...
He had a little bit
8th
less than 2 months
Penny.
total, I think, when we started, something like that. And so my last note says 47 days. So I will note that he's at 43 days now.
Okay. So, add new note. Perry Winkle no longer gets ridden every time Wayne sees him. There we go. Okay, save note. That is a note on the 19th of Periel, which is next month, and we are the 8th of Peniel right now.
The 8th of... Nice.
Yeah, we are the 8th of Penis right now. So, Wayne, as
That's
you
great.
kind of return back in, you kind of stopped by and picked up Periwinkle pretty quick before there was any discussion or anything. Took him for a little ride. Of course, as per usual, you got the weird looks. Probably had to speak with at least one guardsman on your way to the bank. Made your way back. As you're kind of entering in, you notice Martha, as per normal, is in the kitchen, but she's actually stirring a broth on the kitchen. As she kind of looks over, she says, "Oh, hi, Wayne. We weren't expecting you back."
Just a quick passing through. Had to make sure that Periwinkle's paying his dues.
Yes. If you could take a look at Gerald. I'm cooking a broth for him right now, but he's fallen ill a couple days ago.
What kind of ill are we talking here? Are we talking the kind where there's brown stuff running down his legs, or the kind where green stuff's coming out his nose?
No, nothing like that. Just, he says it's a common cold, but he's rarely down for this long.
Okay. Yeah, I can take a look.
I'd appreciate it. Thank you. I'll have cookies down for you when you get back down here.
I appreciate that.
So you kind of walk up a few stairs and go around into a bedroom, and Gerald, these are small people. These are gnomes. In this tiny little bed upstairs, maybe a 3x4 bed. You find Gerald, and he does not look good. Gerald is very old. Couple 100 years old. Well past middle-aged for a gnome. And he usually has salt and pepper hair. He's still got some black in his hair. But even though you saw him 4 days ago, he is just jet white with his hair now. His face almost looks a little bit fallen. And he's actively coughing and retching into a bucket beside his bed as you step inside.
Well, I'd say you're looking good as ever, Gerald, but I ain't gonna lie to you. You look like shit.
He kind of waves you and come in. I feel like shit too.
Martha's saying you think this is just the common cold?
I am getting older. I can't fight it off like I used to.
They're gnomes. Fuck off, Marcus. I'm gonna hit him with a nice little second level healing word.
Second level healing word.
Yeah, see how that helps.
Okay. As you hit him with this bit of radiant energy, he does kind of perk up a little bit. But as that happens, he's kind of like, I had some particular stomach pains just inside my rib cage. I'm thinking I'm gonna need to see some kind of doctor or something. That helped a little bit, but I don't know how much it's gonna do in the long term.
I might know a guy. I'm gonna call Lennon.
Oh shit.
Alright, Lennon, so you are at your desk, just hard focused, and you're making good progress, and you hear the
Turn this on. This one. Hello?
Hey, Lennon.
Wayne?
You're a doctor, right? You fix people?
To an
Alright, cool.
extent.
I've got this old guy that I know from my church, and he needs some fixing. It's a little bit more than me fixing.
What's wrong with him? Sorry, I'm a bit busy at the moment. What's wrong with him?
He said he has a rock in his rib cage.
Rock is. That's supposed to be.
Okay, Thomas, you get 3 more throughout the rest of the session. Continue.
All right.
And then we'll put his pen down and sort out some notes. Get a fresh sheet of paper. It's like, okay, I'll try and best diagnose from here. How long has this been going on?
Hey, Gerald, how long has this been going on? A couple days, you said?
He says, if I'm gonna be entirely honest, I've kind of been feeling a little pain there for probably a month or 2, but it's only gotten real bad in the past couple days.
I'll relay to Lennon. He said it's been going on for a couple months, but it's only been real bad the last couple of days.
How? Oh, dear. What has he been eating? What's his? I guess. What race is he? How old is he? And what is his general diet as of late?
Gnome, couple 100 years old, good eating.
Alright. Oh, jeez. Okay. Lynn will what about what time is it?
It's probably about 7 at this point.
How many more hours until the meeting?
You've got 2 hours.
I guess I could. Alright, I'll try and if it's been going on for a couple months, it's more so a chronic illness rather than a disease, so it's probably a bit more serious than I can handle. How about this? After the meeting, I'll come back with after the meeting later. I'll come back with you and check him out. I want to make as much progress as I can over here, but once I find a good stopping point, I'll wrap up, meet you, we'll go back.
Sounds good to me. Been a couple months, a couple hours ain't gonna kill him. Right, Gerald?
Gerald says, I guess.
I guess it's
Right, Gerald dies.
I guess I guess just if the pain is bad enough that even you're calling it in about it and you can't heal it, let's start with some basic painkiller. A basic painkiller that you can drink and hold off, and hopefully hold him off for a few hours until I can see him. And then we'll kind of, like, direct Wayne to like, if you have these kitchen ingredients, should make a okay painkiller for now, sort of thing.
Grabbing the Drano. All right.
No. So Wayne, as you kind of put the rock away, Gerald kind of goes, who exactly were you talking to on that stone?
He's one of my compatriots. I travel with him, and he's kind of like our other doctor. I'm like the, magic doctor. He's like the other doctor when I can't fix him.
All right. I've got something for you. And he kind of like reaches across. He says, I've got something for you. And he pulls open this little drawer and he pulls out a note. And he kind of hands it to you. It is sealed and it's to you. He says, this was sent in by a courier a couple days ago, just as I was starting to fall ill. It's from the churches of the Concilium. I'm not exactly sure what it has, but I didn't want to either get hopes up or make people crestfallen, so I've kept it for your eyes.
I appreciate that.
Alright.
I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm gonna go see if I can get this little tonic he talked about. Get Martha to whip it up for you. You hang in there, buddy. I'm gonna take the note and I'll start heading out.
Alright. I'm gonna send that note to you. If you want to read it out, you're welcome to. If you want to keep it to yourself, that is also fine.
Are you sending it in
Discord just sent it to you.
Here. I'd probably, after I shut the door, just stop in the hallway for a moment and kind of crack it open, and pull it out, and just kind of read it.
Suspense.
Alright. I'll shrug and tuck it into my pocket, head down to the kitchen to talk to Martha.
Alright. As you kind of head down, Percy kind of is bounding about. He's going up the stairs with a bowl of broth to take to him, and he kind of dodges to the side and says, oh, hi, Wayne. I didn't know you were back yet. And kind of like scrambles up the stairs to give Gerald the bowl before he kind of rushes back downstairs, and he says, where were you? What were you doing?
We were off talking to some poor people, trying to make some friends and find some of our other friends, and then some blood drinkers came, and whole thing with that. That was crazy, but
Blood drinkers?
then one of our friends died, and now we're back.
What?
We're trying to fix things, and an angel got his wings ripped off, and
Oh
yeah, it was wild.
That's awesome.
I know, right?
Yeah. Where are you going now?
I don't remember. I think we're going north again.
North.
See, my summary was great, Zach. That was exactly what I said.
North? What's up north?
I think there's a council or something, and
A council?
bunch of rich, powerful people that want to get together and talk stuff.
You talking about the festival?
Yeah, that thing.
You're going to the Festival of the Rise?
Yeah.
Can I come?
Sure.
Martha is like, I don't know if that's the... And Percy's like, I gotta pack my bags! And he runs out of the room and will immediately begin packing to join you to go to the Festival of the Rise.
Hell yeah.
So as he's going to do that, Martha kind of looks at you and says, "Is that really the best of ideas?"
Yes.
All right. Well, y'all have fun, I guess. As she's just kind of like pulling down these random materials she's telling you. She's like, I really mix all of this. Are you sure your friend wasn't telling you how to mix explosives? As she's just pouring stuff into the boiling water to make whatever this is.
As long as she's not pouring it into boiling water, it shouldn't explode.
Small explosion. Just, oh, not boiling water. Okay.
I think it was chilled water.
Oh, all right. I hear you.
He does make bombs, so I mean it's 50-50, but he's a pretty good doctor too, so I reckon it's a medicine.
She's just dumbfounded as she's putting these things together. She eventually cooks it up pretty quickly, and it's not an incredibly effective painkiller, but it does dull the pain slightly. Is there anything else you would like to be doing before the meeting this evening, Wayne?
What do I know about this concilium?
So the concilium is the council of like the 12 most worshipped deities in the Caladrian Empire. We actually spoke about them a little bit last session. I believe I even mentioned them by name in the books that Sakir was reading through.
Okay, I do remember some of that.
But yeah, so just to list real quick, let me pull that back up. The concilium, la-da-da-da-da. Maybe I don't have this where I thought I did. Deities. That's not what I was looking for. It's generally considered the 12 primary deities. I'd have to headhunt my notes to find it again. I really thought it would be right here with everything else.
Like the Olympus Big 12 or something like that.
Yeah, oh, that's where it is. One moment. I know
So they all
exactly
play
where to look
football
for it
against
now.
each other?
You know, I've got so many notes. Okay, so the 12 deities are Sylvanus, Bahamut, Selûne, Wild Mother, the Raven Queen, Mistra, Gond, Tyr, Torm, Lu, Helm, and Ilmater.
What was, you said, Tyr, Torm?
Lu. L-U-G-H. Lu. Then Helm
Lu.
and Ilmater. And that is the 12 most worshipped deities of the Caladrian Empire. There are other deities worshipped, and obviously other empires worship different gods in a more prominent sense. But as you'll note, that letter was from one in particular, which I'll let you reveal whenever you wish. So that's all of that. Do you have any other questions or anything else you'd like to do this evening?
Uh,
I stroke my pickle.
All right, 2 more.
yeah, I don't think
Exhibit
so.
one.
Sorry, I was waiting to use that one.
I struck my pickle.
I just wanted to do the bank, check in with my little homies, and give Periwinkle a good ride.
Yep, sounds
But
about
looks
right.
like we'll be headed back to and Gerald later as well with Lynn.
Yeah.
I think for now I'm probably good.
All right.
Definitely sneak a couple of them cookies on the way out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
She's
Wayne's
got
just trying to set me up to use the soundboard.
She's got a whole bunch of those cookies baked up. A lot of them still fresh. So you're eating good. You go there, get a little bit of diabetes, and then take some for the road. So for this meeting back at the Academy of Dusk, let's see, who do we think would
Yeah,
be getting
hope.
there first? Out of you guys, because Rikus and Leopold conversed for a while, but they're also quite punctual.
Heavily intoxicated.
They are heavily
Heavily.
intoxicated.
Not heavily, just mildly.
Slightly.
Well, I am
More later.
I am less intoxicated than you, but you've probably downed a couple bottles by this
Most
point.
definitely, most definitely.
Yeah,
I may or may
Leopold's
not have
full.
forgotten how much Leopold drank.
Fucking roll the con save.
I don't think he even gets to
Roll
roll.
it.
He's just drunk. Not
Your constitution
not
is that
full
bad.
drunk, but you know you're definitely a little tipsy and everything else. So if that being the case,
I need
I
to take a shit.
legitimately think Sakir might be the first person to get there, unless Sakir believes otherwise.
No, that's
I mean,
because Sakir's not doing
already-
anything important.
Security.
And
Wow.
he's already in their life.
Meeting.
No, I'm currently back at the house. I took things back to the house with Lennon.
Yes, you did.
So when you left
So-
when you left the apartment, would you be telling Lennon that it's time to go?
Yeah, I think I would. Yeah, so unless anyone feels like their character would specifically want to be as tardy as possible, I think that Secure gets there legitimately like on time, if not like 5 minutes early.
Lennon leaves when Secure leaves.
Lennon leaves when Sakir leaves.
Yep.
All right, knock knock.
Hey, that was
Never
that's so
cook your
good.
food.
So, as you guys go up the tower of Lycus Erenin, you guys do find yourselves entering into his little antechamber. He is not actively out and about yet. However, there is a handful of people already here. So particularly, you guys note that Evithar, Ernest, and Stolius are all there. Stolius and Evithar are kind of speaking to each other off to one side. And then you see Ernest and Sakir, you especially, since you don't know who this is off of first glance, almost like a spitting image of Ernest, but you would say like 30 years older. But you can absolutely see the very particular resemblance.
I
Lennon,
immediately recognize this. Yeah.
however, you do recognize this person. Wearing this like white, radiant white armor, a cloak or almost a cape going from his back with the 7 towers and 7 shooting stars on it, with his helm under his arm. You recognize Halant Valkenton, who is not Ernest's father, but rather his uncle.
Oh, okay.
Halant, Lennon, you know, is kind of the captain of the city guard. And by kind of, I do mean legitimately, he is the captain of the city guard. He is a knight, which is very rare. Revedan a little bit less so. Revedan has a lot of knights, surprisingly. In fact, the majority of the knights of the Calabrian Empire, or at least per capita per city, they have a lot of them. Probably at least a fifth of the knights of the whole empire are founded here under the Order of the Starry Knights, which he is a member of. And along with him being captain of the city guard, he is of the Radiant Guard, which is of the family's particular. Yes, Wayne?
Is that with a K or without a K?
That is with a K. Knight. Knight.
They're the Starry Knights.
They are the Starry Knights.
Why are they so dazzling?
Because they're from the City of Stars. But Halant has his hands in a lot of different pies. You don't know his entire background, but I didn't finish with the Radiant Guards. They're like the household guard of the Valkenton family. They're called the Radiant Guard. So you do not know exactly why he would be here for this conversation. But as you're kind of entering in, you're immediately like, that guy is a lot more important to the Caladrian Empire and City than people in this room usually are. Like, Lycus is important, but Lycus is a professor of a magic academy, and not even the most popular professor in the academy. So,
He's my most popular.
that's gay. Anyway, so
Homosexual even.
as you guys
'Cause he gave me a
enter
job.
in,
Hashtag bedroom problems.
which conversation would you like to try and join, or do you just kind of awkwardly stand there and start?
Lynn will to I guess the college people, Avatar, Stolius, and Ernest, and kind of first off he'll nod towards Captain Valkenton, and it's like just give him general, respect. Hello.
As you nod to him, he kind of notices you from his peripheral, and he nods to you as well.
And then we'll walk over to the college
Avatar
people.
and Stolius.
Yeah, see what's going on.
They seem to be talking about some pretty high level magic, it seems. They're actually particularly talking about what it would take to create a whole new landmass, as it seems they're discussing what the Titans seem to have done south by Draconia, as they've created a whole new massive island that they've named Paradise. You hear Stolius say, in fact, in the older times when the Avalarian people were at their highest power, it wasn't uncommon for new masses to be made either in the sky or on the land. Carceria itself was made thousands of years before the Schism, and it obviously contains vast biomes and such. And Avatar is like, I do understand, but I'm not entirely certain of to how that would... As you kind of hear this conversation as you're coming up, and Avatar kind of looks over to you and Stolius says, "Oh, welcome. You are..." He kind of looks around. "Right on time. Where is everyone else?"
Say, how soon do you think Rikus and Leo would get there?
Roll me a d6.
Let's do it. Can we do let's do it together, babe.
You...
I guess we only need 1d6 and he rolled a 5.
So you guys are 5 minutes late. Wayne will be entering in shortly, because Wayne is just not stoned out drunk. Either way, and Trotty kind of looking over to you, we were just discussing your friends the Vox and their friends, the Titans, and what they've created down south, as apparently, as he points to Avatar, it is going to be a point of discussion in the Council of the Oratus Mago during the festival.
They created new outer element. They created new land.
Yes,
I
they
hear a
did
Metal Gear
create
Solid
new
reference.
land. I'm not entirely certain how. We were just discussing. Regardless, that is, I believe, a discussion for another time. Linen, if you'll help me. And he kind of beckons you to follow him kind of deeper into this little room than you're usually going. You see he kind of goes off to the side, the back left wall, and there's a door there. And you're very rarely coming back here, so you might not have even known the door was here. As he kind of opens it up, you immediately are kind of shell-shocked as you see a bedroom back here. It's very small, especially for someone of Lycus's station, you would say. However, there is a simple bed that you see Lycus Aranin, who has seemingly just gotten dressed. You immediately note as you enter the room, there is a bandage wrapped around his neck. that is mostly covered by what seems to be like a turtleneck that he's attempting to cover with it. But as he's covering it, you see this bandage. You also see that he just looks weak. His eyes are, you would almost say, darker than usual. They're droopy. He's got bags under his eyes. His face looks worn. It looks like he's aged years upon years since you've last seen him, which has been a little bit, not an extensive period of time, but you didn't see him when you came back the last time you were here. So it's at least been a week to a week and a half since you've seen him face to face. So as you kind of enter the room, Antrati kind of beckons you over, and Lycus kind of looks up, and you see he gives like almost a bit of an angry look to Stolius as he walks in, almost like why did you bring him in here to see me like this? But he accepts your guys' help as you have to help him out of the bed. Like, he's almost unable to stand from sitting at the bedside. And there's a little cane off to the side that Antrati kind of hands to him, and Lycus kind of looks to you. What is your like facial expression here? What are you thinking at this moment?
Lennon will just he'll just say it straight out. He'll calmly look at Lycus and he'll say, as a medical professional, I will not divulge patients' information without their consent. So you can rest assured I will not speak about your condition unless you are comfortable with it, and you do not have to divulge any information unless you want to.
Lycus just kind of looks at you, kind of just coughs a little and goes, well, I'm about to go and show myself to everyone out there, so it's not like I'm going to be hiding all that much.
Sometimes that counts. Just know
Yes.
that I'm not going to think any less of you for your condition.
Yes.
Everyone gets sick at some point.
This is sadly not something even a maester of the medicinal arts could help me with.
Fair. There's different ways to define sick now, isn't there?
Yes. Regardless, we should get out there.
Yeah,
And as you guys are rounding the corner, Wayne is coming up the stairs. And as Wayne, you kind of enter in, Sakir is kind of just standing there on his own. But in the back, you do see, the members I've spoken of before, the Valkenton pair sitting off to the side, Evithar kind of on his own. But then you see Entrati and Lennon around the corner, and you see Lycus walking out of his room with a cane. Lennon, you do note that Lycus kind of puffs himself up a little bit and seems to regain a little bit of a strength as he's exiting the room. Yes, Thomas.
I would like to note that when Leopold and I got there, I was like somewhat helping support him a little bit, getting up all those steps,
Most definitely.
So kind of slinging him a little bit. So
Okay. We'll say that's why you guys are late.
yeah, I
lot
had to
of
practically
stairs.
carry him up the stairs.
Yeah. All right.
Also, for being a wizard, I'm surprised he's not just using a staff instead of a cane.
Yep.
They
Either way,
serve different purposes with aid in walking.
I was gonna say they do serve very different purposes.
Fair.
A staff is for going up, generally. Cane is more support because you can lean on it with all the pressure on the top of the cane. Either way, we're not going to discuss
but
elderly
nobody
people.
uses a cane for casting fireball.
And put all the
Hey.
pressure on the
That
top.
could be pretty
of
cool
my
now that I
cane.
think about it.
Either
It
way,
might be.
So Wayne, you kind of step in, walk in. Is there any person you go to immediately, or do you just kind of go to the food table that's kind of off to the side?
I'd kind of survey everyone, I think I'd take special note that Lycus looks old as shit and weak, even though he didn't look quite that bad last time. And then I'd go get some food,
Okay.
tucking that small nugget of information away for a little later.
Okay. So discussions continue. A few minutes later, Lycus has been sat down at the table. Evithar and Entrati are to his left and right respectively, kind of lowly discussing with him. A few minutes later, stumbling up the stairs, Rykus, half carrying, half dragging Leopold's body. You guys make your way to the top of the stairs. As you guys enter in, kind of everybody looks over at you guys. Entrati kind of calls out, have Leopold take the seat over there, and he kind of points to the side, kind of the closest seat towards you, and you kind of set Leopold in the chair.
He can get over there under his own power, just not really anywhere else.
The two leaders of our party, everybody.
At this point, as you're kind of making your way up the stairs, Rykus, and as you get out and, you know, kind of let him go off on his own, you feel a tap on your right shoulder. And as you kind of look behind you, at your other shoulder, you hear a, well, hello there, as Edmund is there, right behind you.
You want to know what the hardest thing in the world is? Me!
Immediate erection. No, I'm sorry.
He was in the military. Continue.
I'm gonna look at him. Kind of let out a cough, just like I did, and blink for a second. Go. Well, you don't look like fucking shit anymore.
No, I
Now you
don't
just
look
look
like
like-
fucking shit.
Yeah, now you just look like normal shit.
He kind of points you
Ouch.
up and down.
You know I'm sensitive about my race, my skin color.
No, you're not. You're sensitive about being called a drow.
Okay. You're still racist, but
I mean, it's hard to not be. Like, look at you. Either way, I think they're waiting for the meeting. I don't even know why I'm here, to be entirely honest.
well, I have a feeling you are getting put back in the game, my friend.
He kind of looks at himself and kind of does a quick shuffle and then a slight jump and says, well, it healed me up pretty damn good. I mean, I've been sitting in a bed for a week and a half almost. Good talk. And
I
he
haven't.
walks towards the table.
I just say I haven't, and we just say good talk. All right.
As you guys kind of... Yes, Aiden?
I was wondering. I know there was obviously Edmund who was rescued from the party of Rykus's old group. Wasn't there also another person rescued from Rykus's old group?
There was another person. He is not here.
Okay. I was just wondering if I was misremembering. Continue.
I didn't know that other one very well.
No, you did not. Or at least you didn't know him anywhere near as well as you know Edmund.
Yeah.
Either way. So, as you guys all kind of sit down, Ernest kind of backs his chair out and stands and says, hello everyone. We're here to discuss kind of the schedule and what our expectations for the this whole next week, as the Festival of the Rise will have a lot of meetings, a couple councils to adjourn to, and well, there's a little bit to go over. Firstly, he kind of points to the man in just the white armor, who everyone has. Linen's really the only one to have fully recognized him, and Rikus. Rikus,
I was gonna say, I was like,
Halant,
pretty sure I would have.
Halant to you is almost a bit of a legend. He's not a well-known name outside of the military, or even to the guard of this city, as he kind of lords over it as its commander, a bit more from the shadows. He doesn't like to put his name out there. Whether that's because of his last name and that his brother is already the ruler of this fief, you don't know exactly why, but he doesn't put his name out there as the fact that he's the commander of the city guard. Either way, he definitely is a bit of a legend. He is known as a very honorable, very astute tactician, and more importantly, a man who is willing to fight to the last. In particular, the Trinity Fields, which was a battle in the Khatanate Empire against the Githyanki, is where he made most of his name. Either way, as you kind of sit down, as
Yeah,
Ernest...
upon clocking him, I'm gonna kind of straighten out a little bit before locking eyes with him, but I'm gonna lean towards Edmund and be like, I'm glad I shaved before this. Kind of nodding towards the captain.
Yeah. Edmund's kind of listens and then gets back to it. Ernest is going to say, this is my uncle. This is Halant Falkington. We are going to be a part of a small procession. There will be a pair of boats leaving in the morning. There is the Star of Revedan and the Spine's sister. There will be a variety of important, high-value members of the Caladrian Noble Society on the Star of Revedan, and then you, along with some others, will be on the Spine Sister. This is going to be important. For those of you who do not know any courtesies or how to ingratiate yourself with noble society, try not to. As he's saying that, Lycus kind of... Rycus. Sakir. Be on your best behavior.
Sounds good.
I'll just focus on marching in a straight line.
Alright. And Lycus is going to tap Ernest on the side, and Ernest seems like he was prepared to lead the whole meeting, but as Lycus taps him, he kind of sits back down, and Lycus says, let me put this simply. You are coming along, both as extra muscle or bodyguards or whatever you wish to call yourself, but more than anything else, you are Inexorables. At least you are currently. As much as a help of, he points Evithar and Ernest, as much as a help that Evithar and Ernest have been to this organization, they are first and foremost not inexorable. The heir to Revedan and a member of an entirely different arcane enclave. With me being the only full member of the Inexorable who would have been going to Suno, we need more representation. There must be a showing that we even have numbers, especially in front of the Caladrian Senate in 4 days, almost 3 now.
Well, sir, you picked one hell of a crew to...
I hate to say it, but you are the most presentable, particularly due to Leopold and Linen.
Leopold will.
Understandable.
At least Leopold is usually presentable.
I think a very weak look.
You may be right about that.
I'm gonna pat Leopold and then just turn back to Lycus to say, we all mourn in different ways.
Yes, I won't have. I promise I will not have too much during the festival of the Rise.
Yes. Regardless, there will be many important meetings and a few different larger. There is a Senate meeting on the 12th, which is 4 days from now. And then a few days after that, 3 days after that, there is the meeting of the Oratas Mago. They will both be discussing very important matters, of which I will be speaking in both meetings. Leading up to both of these meetings, I will be discussing with various members of both the Caladrian Senate and the Ortas Mago, requesting their aid and votes in things. These will be private meetings that I will expect you to be around, not necessarily to participate, especially not to participate in. You are to be seen, not heard, to stand outside the door of the meeting, make sure no one finds out what is happening. To put it simply,
Standard
the-
security details, sir.
yes, the Inexorables is going to change drastically after the Festival of the Rise. And I expect the majority of you, if not all of you, will be a larger part of it than even I may have originally wanted. It is hard to narrow down members of an adventuring community to have any form of dedication to something of this sort. Hence why we were so aggressive upon negotiations with the Vox. Regardless, he's going to continue. All three members of the Caladrian Senate that are based here in Revedan, along with Errant Valkenton, his sons Ernest and Polkar, along with his brother and 5 other members of the Radiant Guard, will be joining us along this trip. Stolius will stay here to continue to rest, at least for a while. Perhaps he will be able to find some way to help Pax. That is what he will be working on. I have given him free rein to discuss with many contacts I have in hopes to pursue that. He kind of pokes out. Edmund will be my primary aid in these matters. In that, Edmund is the only one who I will need by my side the entire time. There are many festivities. It is a festival. You are welcome to participate in them. As I said, you are more there as extra inexorable representation than truly a god detail. There is a particular tournament on the 12th, which is 3 days from now, that I assume you will be interested in. Do you have any questions before we continue?
Yes, I do. In fact, where will we be? Where will we be staying for the duration of our time in Suno?
The Lord Errant Valkenton was invited by the Caladron family to stay in their holdings. And his entire retinue was invited as well. And Lord Valkenton invited us to be part of his retinue. Whether you accept that invitation or not is up to yourselves. In the Caladron estate, in the northeastern quadrant of the city, it is quite a large estate and manor. It will more than be able to house all of us. However, if you wish to stay in an inn or tavern, you are more than welcome. In fact, if you intend on participating in any debauchery or excess drinking or other habits one may have, it may be best that you do not stay in the noble home.
Just quick meta question. Is that spelled with a C or a K?
So that is a C, C-A-L-D, Cala, C-A-L-A-D-R-A-N, Caladron. The Caladron...
Oh, no, my first.
Yeah, the Caladron is an offshoot of the noble family. They are not the royal family. Just making that note. There are 3 different families that all have the Kala start, because there are 2 offshoots along with the actual Caladrian family. So I'm just going to try and make sure that I stay clear and concise with that for you guys.
Leopold will just sort of mutter to himself. Probably not staying at the tavern, memories.
Lycus is going to continue.
Thank you for answering the question, Lycus. I believe that is all for me.
Lycus kind of looking around to the rest of everybody. Alright, well, if there are no questions, he kind of... Yes, Lycus.
Sorry, I had to use a lot of mental capacity for the one next to me. I have to look at Leopold. Sir, are we expecting any hostility over the course of the festivals and all of your meetings?
There will certainly be possibly some aggressive negotiations. Not in any violent manner, but there certainly will be some yelling matches, I am under the assumption of. There is always the risk, especially in traveling with such a grand noble family, that there is the possibility of an attack. However, it is low, and the Radiant God will be more than able to handle anything that comes from that regard. In terms of myself or the Inexorables, I would be surprised if anyone made an attack with intent upon us. Aside from your vampire friends, I do not see much of a reason for it, up to this point. Nearly every other major conflict with any umbral forces have been standalone forces. Small groups of insectoid, semi-sentient creatures found their way deep into the caves over in the Troja Hills. It took a group that was recently hired on nearly 3 days to fully clear them out. Sadly, there was no way to communicate with them, even seemingly through some magical means. We're not entirely certain what happened. Either way, I, again, do not see any reason to fear for my own safety in terms of a martial attack. I may die of boredom attempting to get votes on 2 separate councils, but outside of that, it would still be good to stay vigilant.
Understood. On a separate note, but definitely one that I would at least assume will be brought up during some of these meetings. What position do you and, well, I guess the organization currently hold on the current rumor mill of the Katanans mobilizing, as well as the Dwendalians?
There has been little to no note on the To put it blankly, the Inexorables will not be taking part in any Caladrian, Katanid, Dwendalian affairs. End of story. If you do have any questions...
I can stay retired.
Yes, if you do have any questions in that regard, he kind of looks over to Hallant and nods to him. Hallant is going to kind of stand up, his gleaming helmet set on the table, and he's going to say, If I am going to be entirely honest, I do not know why you are joining along in this. It was not approved by the Valkenton family. But I have been informed that I must brief you upon some matters. Rikus, you asked of the possibilities of war. That is part of what the Senate is gathering to discuss. They will be voting on whether to rally the first draft and banners of both Revedan, Troja, and Distar. That is the primary reason the Senate is gathering. There are some others. But with that, there are some disturbing reports of things occurring both in Yalen, Jizlan, and Jelkala. In regards to the upcoming likely conflict, he kind of looks over towards Lycus. The Inexorables will be guarding the home territory of not just the Caladrian Empire, but wherever they can against these umbral creatures. That is your job and duty. Lycus has thought it best for myself and the Radiant Guard, which you will meet with in the morning when we meet at the boats, and yourselves as you are guarding Lycus, and apparently at times Ernest as well. We are the two separate security details for these two separate groups of people. We will be gathering together to truly figure out what this will be looking like in the morning. If you have any questions, you're welcome to ask now.
I glanced over at the rest of the party.
Perhaps this may have been more a question earlier regarding accommodations, but I did just think of it. If other companions of ours who are not members of the Inexorables were to be staying, wish to join us in Suno, I assume that we would need to manage
Find
their own
other
accommodation.
accommodations.
But would they be available to travel on the Spine's sister, or would they also need accommodations for travel?
If you have extras you intend on bringing along, they are welcome upon the Spine's sister. There will be no reason to vet, as there is no major figures traveling on that vessel. However, when we reach Revedan, they will need to find other accommodations. It was a favor already to accommodate you five.
I understand, and I thank you. I simply wanted to ensure that we were not overstepping that favor.
You hear Halant kind of just take this massive sigh as Leopold finishes, and he is going to sit down. He is very much not letting his face betray any feelings, but it seems fairly obvious he feels it is stupid that he is here. As they continue on, Lycus kind of nods, looking back and forth, and says, "At this point, Halant, I believe it is. Your purpose here has been served. I am sorry for taking away from your time. I wish you the best with you in the Radiant Guard, and intend on seeing you in the morning." Halant kind of nods. He takes his helmet, sets it upon his head, and begins to leave. Ernest kind of gets up and follows him out, seemingly wanting to discuss something with him. Lycus kind of looks over to Evethar and says, "My friend, I also believe it would be best if we make this an inexorable only conversation now." Evethar kind of nods to him, the half-orc man kind of standing up, brushing off his robes, He kind of touches Lycus on the shoulder and nods to him, and then also leaves the room. Lycus at this point kind of looks to Entrati and then looks to you guys, and as soon as the door closes, he almost like melts. Like his stature just falls away, like he's been holding himself up with all of his strength up to this point. Almost kind of like leaning down onto the table at this point. He kind of presses himself back into his chair. And Trotty kind of beside him, trying to help him. Lycus kind of looks up and says, I first and foremost would like to apologize for my lack of an active role in helping you with your missions of late. I know most of you have not been with me long. He kind of trails off for a moment. He says, the Festival of the Rise is going to be a very drastic turn for this organization. With how things are brewing, with the Concord and the Coast having been at war for a few months now, with the Katanit Empire rallying their banners, I am meeting with people in the Galadrian Senate to try and take whatever sway I can to delay this war. He's kind of tapping the table as weakly, but as best he can, and there are too many things going on right now in this world that are out of our control.
Unfortunately, if you haven't been briefed yet, there might be another movement in play. And I kind of look at Lennon.
Well,
Did we ever brief it? No, we didn't report on this yet.
No, we'll discuss that later.
What is going on?
Okay. Well, two things. Obviously, you know about the vampire threat and their Quentar. Turns out that as we expected, it's a multi-headed operation. The vampire that assaulted us in not Ramadan. What was the
Sargoth?
Team? Thank you. Thank you. The vampire that was heading the operation in Sargoth with the Nezdarun is working for the same Quentar who controlled the vampire working in Team recently, which led to the
Okay.
mission.
It's Trident operation, but we took out one of the prongs.
Yeah.
At great cost for our organization, of course.
This implies that there is a higher vampire lord orchestrating multiple Umbral activities throughout the continent. The second thing we've learned is that the cult of the Fourth Claw from Kondura has infiltrated the Galadrian Empire and is starting to set down roots.
That is disturbing.
Yes, and that was also part of what happened during this last mission, and unfortunately led to Pax dying.
Yes.
And did we tell him about the Temple Ziggurat?
That was going to be explained in a later report.
Trotty spoke to me in some part of what you just said.
Okay. Wanted to make sure that was also there.
The ziggurat is most disturbing.
Quite. excuse me. It only nicked me and I went down. So, quite dangerous.
There is far more than just that. There is this seeming vampire threat, and now the Cult of the Fourth Claw, a fairly long-standing member of the Conduran cultish society, seemingly now wanting to take steps into the Caladrian Empire. Along with that, a recent crime syndicate has entered into some of the eastern cities, going by the name of the Qualms.
Or like Eastern as far as like Zimnian Eastern?
I apologize. He meant Western. I apologize. Western.
So like
Mount.
So Zadash, Hupadocta, Troja, that area.
Oh, of the Caladrian Empire.
Of the
okay.
Caladrian Empire.
Well, sir, another part of the note. From what I know of briefings about the Fourth Claw in the past, they seem to be speaking of something of a great leader in this note, and I grab it from Lennon, slide it to him.
How?
They speak of something called the Aggregate of the North, has strength and devotion, but no social manipulation. I have a feeling that the Conduran cultists are raising their own version of a banner. Or at least there is intent to. I do not know who this great leader is, but fuck, it could be any bloke off the street who talks loud enough.
Yes.
Oh.
There are many disturbing things occurring right now. And a war between the Caladrian and Khatanit empires, the two empires with the largest standing armies and the largest population to draw from, could be devastating to the entirety of this continent. If war is happening, even civilly, civil war in Kandura, the eastern coast fighting itself over some blocks of stone, we and the Khatanit Empire fighting over the slaves from Dan, the likelihood of the Dwendalian and Avarian empires remaining neutral will not stand for long. Even Maruth has thrown its lot in with the Concord and seems to be fighting against the coast, but no one ever knows what side those orcs truly are on. It seems the entire continent is bound on fighting itself right now. This is why I'm meeting with people of the Caladrian Senate in attempts to dissuade the calling of the banners to march past border lines, to only hold our own borders, if it even comes to that. I, as you can tell, am ill.
Does it feel like you have rock in your lungs?
He kind of looks at you awkwardly and says, I would not describe it that way.
Okay, good. I mean, not good, but...
As he goes to speak for a second, he stops himself and he kind of looks over at Stolius, and they both kind of put their hands out, and they seemingly cast a spell around the table. Lycus, they both actually seem to do it with a little bit of struggle. Lycus kind of leans out and says, even with the defenses of my tower, I believe some extra is warranted. I am not ill with a normal disease. The plans with the Vox. Why Intrati was sent there. The Vox are a people without a home. And they are refugees, obviously, in their camps. But they have many great warriors. Many that would be useful to fight these umbral creatures. We intend on allying with them. They lend us some of their warriors to hunt down these umbral creatures, and we find a way to open a way into Karseri. Many of its blocks are cleared completely, and we intend on trying to patch the holes, put a door, and make it a place for the Vox.
Yeah, Rikus kind of raises an eyebrow. Sir, I don't know if I heard you correctly there. You want to put the Vox in Karseri?
In the preliminary discussions of the first few days that Intrati spent with Finch, along with multiple other higher-ranking officials of the Vox, nearly 300,000 slaves of the Khatanate Empire will never not be fought over. It is because of them and Caladrian warmongers accepting them as refugees. That is the primary instigation of this war between the Caladrian and Khatanate empires. Even if this war occurs and the Caladrians begin to fight, the Caladrian people will turn on the Vox, as it is inherently their fault. Caused by members of the ruling councils of Caladrian Empire, yes, but still, they will not ever be truly and completely safe on this continent. It is dangerous, of course. We intend on taking our time with it. Fixing the holes. That is one of the biggest aspects of the Oratos Mago that I intend on discussing, is gathering other archmages to attempt to repair the breaks the Titans made in the defenses of Karseri. Deny any other malevolent creature from exiting that prison. Even one block alone could house the Vox.
This could just be my intoxication, but is Karseri not a prison? I may be misremembering, but I didn't think it was a particularly happy place.
Intrati kind of speaks up and says, "It is indeed a place to lock away things. We call it a prison for simple terms, but that is not what the Avalar people designed it for. It was designed to hide away things that were no longer either safe or were no longer... It was no longer safe for the people around it, for them to remain on the prime material, whether that be creatures of fiendish or celestial design, aberrations made by the Gith, betrayers of the Avalarian people. Any number of reasons could get a creature or thing locked up in there. There were viruses and illnesses locked away in Karseri. As far as we know, nothing has leaked out thus far. But Karseri did not have a prison in the sense of everything was behind iron bars. It had things locked into their own special biomes. In forests and glades, bogs and fields, plains and mesas. Whatever you could think of, there is a block that has that type of biome in it.
Alright, but Kasari is still another
Dimension. Another plane
dimension
of existence. However you wish to
the dimension. How are we going to travel back and forth there with any sort of regularity? I don't think we can turn every slave that we brought in into a mage.
No,
Brother,
there will...
Just keep the gate open.
That is a option, not a preferable one. Lycus is gonna kind of take it back and he says, that is why these meetings are so important. If I am able to gather no help with the Mago, there is a slight chance we could even attempt this plan. But if I can even gather the Emerald Enclave, Evathar's people, to assist me in this, there is a likelihood that by the end of the year we could have a semi-functioning gate into one of the blocks of Karsari.
Well, I'm probably too intoxicated to debate the finer merits of this plan, and you know magic far better than I do. So I shall simply trust you that it is both possible and a good idea for the time being.
Sir, I know we all understand that our job as the Inexorables is to obviously hunt the Umbral essences as well as deal with the gates. And we talked... You just mentioned earlier that the goal is to close, all of the gates and keep any other blocks that have yet to spill out from ever spilling out in the future. Yeah. Do you know by chance how many gates there are?
He kind of sighs and says, all of the largest of the gates have already been closed. The great ones where ancient dragons could leak through. Smaller gates are much more difficult to detect, especially in rural regions. But I am somewhat certain the majority of the full-on gates where creatures can just walk through without any magical capabilities of their own, the vast majority of those are closed. At this point, it is mostly creatures who can plane shift or teleport, bring themselves out of Karsari by their own will, and either have not yet recognized the weakened defenses of Karsari. Those have not yet leaked out. There is also the fact that the holes made in each section of the prison are not the same size. And Karsari was not designed as a net to keep everything in. It was a fairly wide net, but the more powerful the creature, the larger a shadow it cast. Think of it similar to the Divine Gates. Many creatures can slip to the other side of the upper planes and then come back down. The net is too wide. They can sneak between the weavings. It is similar in Karsari. The smaller the creature is, the easier it has a time getting out. But also, the weaker the creature, the less of a chance it has the ability to get out, whether that be a plane shift or opening a gate for itself. It was, for its time, very well designed, but when a pair of titans come in bashing down the walls, even the best defenses are unlikely to hold for long.
Do you know if these weakened defenses in the netting, as you described, not very magically inclined in that sense to fully understand it or articulate it, but Are we certain that these umbral forces would not become an issue in other planes?
That is...
What's stopping them from, you know, taking over the elemental plane of fire if they had the forces for it? So
That, Rikus, is the entire reason I believe the prime material has not yet been flooded. I believe it was not just gates opened here. I believe some were opened into the elemental planes, possibly into the Feywild, the lower planes, the higher planes, possibly even your home of the Shadowfell. The
I
Astral
glance
Sea.
over at Sakir. Kind of a long glance over at Sakir.
Gates were likely opened to every plane, as this was its complete own home-crafted plane of the Avalarian people. In this, I must note, it is both a great and terrible thing for us, as it means we may end up needing to strive elsewhere to deal with things, but we must first and foremost care for our own plane, the prime material. These plans I discuss with you because I, as I have said, and as you can obviously tell, am ill. I attempted this on my own, and it has severely crippled me. Hence why I am attempting to gather a larger force of archmages. I am no longer physically capable, without killing myself, able to do what is necessary for this plan. This time at the Festival of the Rise will be incredibly strenuous upon me. I will likely get even sicker during that time, but it must be done. My hopes is to finish this, and then I will, after the Festival of the Rise, set you out to find whatever you can on the Fourth Claw and this Quentar. Wherever you need to go, whatever letters you need sent, whatever materials you need to get your hands on. My hope is to not only gather aid in some regards, possibly from my own family, if I can stomach to speak with them. Gold. Extra allies. The Inexorables will begin to grow and bloom, and hopefully I will no longer need to have such a present role as Ernest, and hopefully Stolius will begin taking a stronger lead.
On the topic of your family, Senator Lucard, I remember Senator Lucard told us to pass a message from them to you. It was a...
I was just about to bring that up
Yeah,
myself.
but-
Thank you, then.
Well, was it? It was along the lines of they. Somebody has to remind me. It was along the lines of they regret how they acted last time they interacted, or something like that, right?
Your family misses you, sir. It's a simple way to put it.
Well, I am glad to hear one side does, at least.
Yes, and they will also be in Pseudo, which I imagine is probably not a very great time for you.
Yes. I will likely have to speak with them at some point. Speaking of families, if I am going to be speaking this candidly about the plans of the Inexorables with you, I intend for there to be a higher bar for one to sign up for to be a part of this organization. He kind of looks over towards Stolius and says, "This is merely a rough draft." But Stolius floats over a paper for each of you. And at its top, it says the Inexorable Oath.
Oh boy.
Parents have to sign the syllabus by next week.
Do you understand the curriculum?
No, never.
I am going to send this to someone, and I'm going to have you read it out for the party. Who wants to read it out?
Give it to Jay.
I was
Give it
gonna
to
ask
Jade.
if Leopold should lead it drunk, but maybe give it to Jade or Nate. They've been very silent.
Yeah. Talk. No, I'm just
Okay.
kidding.
So, Jade.
I want to hear your beautiful voice, man.
Jade, there is a little bit to read there, but I would
I'll
like
make
you to
just
read that
this.
for us.
I got it. The Inexorable Oath. I revoke any previous oaths to any nation, religion, or family. My duty is to the protection of the realm. I will worship my gods, hold my name, and love my homeland. But I will not let a doctrine control my actions if it were to conflict with my duties. I will inherit no lands nor titles. I will be a nomad of all lands to never again fight for my homelands. Instead, I only fight for the benefit of Elvaran. I will never abandon my post or delay my response to the call. I will protect the lands of man. All mortal creatures native to the prime are my charge, high or low-born, rich or squalid, good or evil. I make peace with enemies of old and care no longer the fates between nations. Set aside any pacts against old foes, and take no part of Volusian wars. My war against the umbral threats of Carceri begin today. I fight not for gold nor glory, though I may find it. I fight for the defense of the mortals of the Prime, innocent and otherwise. I am judge, jury, and executioner of these creatures of Carceri, hunting and slaying or imprisoning the malevolent, and bringing the benevolent into this realm with open arms to find their place in Elvaran. I will uphold my honor and public appearance, unfaltering against an unknown enemy and always accepting an unknown friend. I swear I will uphold these oaths until the day I die, where I'm released by my fellow warriors against the dark. In these oaths, I, insert name, will remain inexorable.
He said, I will remain. Title card.
Oh,
He
shit.
said it. He said it.
He said it! He said it!
name of the thing
This
and the
needs to
thing.
This needs to be the session where you start like editing the title card in.
I will remain. Duh!
Put in the memes.
So, as you guys are kind
Dude,
of
that whole
reading
thing
through
sounded
this-
like the lawful good version of like the adjudicator.
Anyways, so as you guys are reading through that,
flows.
Lycus says, "This is, again, merely just a first draft, but we believe that it is what this organization would be best used for. We cannot fight in these wars. If these umbral threats persist and more things leak out, our entire focus must be upon them. Even if that means defending our old enemies. I have already revoked my lands and titles, so this means little to me. But I understand in some other cases this may be quite a difficult ask. If so, you may remain a part of the Inexorables, but you will not be a part of the Inner Council. That we persist, create, whatever, however you wish to say it. You will remain as a mercenary. I understand that in particular, Leopold, I do not know your situation with your family, but as a part of a noble line, there may be some difficulty in this.
Have no fear, Lycus. I'm not particularly well acquainted with your family situation, but from the sounds of it, it is very similar to mine.
And Wayne, I want to preface, this will not stop you from worshipping. We are not asking you to stop worshipping Kelemvor, and we are not asking you to stop leading any church. We are merely asking that if there is a conflict between your doctrine and anything this oath would have you swear, that you choose the oath first and foremost.
Maybe I should listen.
We are still serving justice.
There was that whole little bit about justice in there. Did you?
Yes.
Right, Wayne?
I particularly like the part where I'm the judge, jury, and executioner.
Yes. Well, if I am going to be entirely honest, that is exactly what you are when you go out on these missions. You investigate, you discover whether this creature has killed someone yet or not. If it is something that is not safe or deserving to stay on this plane, you are the jury and executioner. But we must be willing to accept the creatures of benevolence into these lands, like Entrati, like Gendo, like Pax.
Looks at
When you say, like, recant your prior oaths and things like that, or like, like, is that more like a personal spiritual kind of way, or do we have to like physically go there and cut ties? Like, am I gonna lose my pension? I just start laughing. I look over at Edmund. It's like, oh, that's even if they're gonna keep paying the pension.
Edmund kind of leans over and says, I'm pretty sure there's a clause that during active war the pension isn't active anymore. But veterans our age are third line in the draft, so we're a little ways away.
Yeah, obviously I know.
But this would make us exempt.
Yeah, it's true. Honestly, reading through this whole thing,
this effect.
basically brings us back to the good old days, brother. Eh? Not you, brother. And we're gonna look at secure, but it's basically most of what we did, but in writing. But instead of doing the dirty work of specific lords, it's more like for the whole realm.
Well, that is how you view your duties. Very well.
Lycus kind of speaks up
I
again.
was talking to Edmund still.
Says, to put it this way, after the Festival of the Rise, I will be sending letters and messengers to each of the ruling councils or kings, monarchs, mayors, governors, ruling nobles of every major city in the realm. There will be a continent-wide letter sent in hopes that we will be able to, if not rally support to our cause, at least we will be able to operate in all districts of this continent.
Yeah, that would be kind of nice if there would be a war going on in the midst of it.
Sounds like we're going to be picking up a lot of second and third sons.
If not farther down the line. And with how the war is looking currently, some may use it as a way of getting out of the wars that are occurring. We just need to make sure the majority, or at least a few of each of these groups we find and send out, are capable and, well, devoted, willing to keep their oath. This is just a contract. This is not a devil's pact that locks you in and will harm you otherwise. This is just paper that you sign. I
That
will
is
not magically bind someone to this oath, but oathbreakers will always catch their due.
So this is a draft. We are not to sign now, because it looks good to me.
If you are interested in signing now, you are welcome to. It will not change much, I can guarantee you that.
Oh, here, I'll just write an addendum. First
Secured.
revision, specific wording due to change. And I'll just sign underneath that. It's not like I have any more ties anyways, since our government, kicked us out, eh? Look at Edmund, so.
Well, we did retire.
Well, it was more like do away with our department kind of retirement. I guess mine was a little bit more of a grander exit.
Either way.
But that wasn't my fault. It was the missions.
As much as I would love to sign right now, this is a decision I feel like I should not do whilst intoxicated. So I will have to pretend this.
Lycus says, yes, by the end of the Festival of the Rise, I expect decisions by everyone. If there is a particular wording you have problems with, we can discuss some changes. But this is what we intend on pushing out towards our 2 other groups in particular.
Yeah, I was about to ask, how is the away team doing? What are they up to?
The away team has been split into 2, and members added on to top of it. Its original was 7, split 4 and 3, and they are now both groups of 6. One is currently in the southern Zemnian coast, dealing with some form of swamp monster. Some frog creature was the last report, but they said there were hundreds of them. The other group is currently in the crossings, or near it in the Troja Mountains, dealing with some other unknown threat. They seem to be doing well, but they will be returning soon after the Festival of the Rise. Unlike yourselves, they have not acquired much of our teleportation abilities.
Well, we're being sent on different types of missions, sir. Sorry, wrestling a child. I'm gonna lean in really closely, or across the table, and go, is that funny-looking bird still alive?
He kind of looks at you and says, yes, he is currently in the Troja Mountains.
Well, they can't fly, but that kid seems to have an insane amount of luck.
Yes, that is the phrase for it. Regardless, I will leave this meeting at that. I'm sure you all have much to think about.
I guess one last thing I kind of wanted to ask. But the details of your injury that has left you so ill, to what level is it that we are unable to heal it? Is it healable at all?
Lennon, I would like you to roll me a persuasion check.
What? Whoa. Alright,
This
let's see
isn't
if
going to
Lennon...
be a super high DC. There are deeper levels that he is probably very unlikely to reveal.
Yeah.
But just for
Let's
funsies.
Let's see how well Lennon rolls today, shall we?
Oh!
Natural 20.
He done persuaded.
He done diddly persuaded, baby.
Unfortunately, The DC was not exceedable because you suck at Christmas.
As you say this, he kind of leans forward, and you see he actively like looks at some of the runes he and Stolius activated as anti-divination, and he says, "Linen, have you ever heard of the spell called Wish?"
Yeah. Wish. Yeah. Yes.
Yes. In an attempt to, in some ways, repair Kasseri and create an opening for the Vox, I cast Wish not once, not twice, but 3 times, and have found myself incredibly weakened in my connection with the Weave. I was lucky I did it over the span of over a week, and it has rendered me not the mage I was when you first met me.
I see.
I am incapable of using that form of spell again unless I am willing to die for it, and even then the chances of it affecting anything are very infinitesimal.
I see.
Intrati, as well, with his tampering that occurred at the hands of Vicious, is also unlikely to be able to help in this matter. We must find a new direction to come at it from. There is a strong likelihood that within a year I am dead, to put it plainly. And in a strong way, there is a likelihood that, even with the strongest of magics, nothing could bring me back. I am attempting to establish the Inexorables, make it a strong foundation, and have names such as Ernest, who... That is a discussion he will be having with his father. Ernest wants to sign this document, but he would be signing away the second most powerful fiefdom in the Caladrian Empire. I understand that you are, or were, minor names in these stories. Nobody's, one could say. From the Astral Sea, the Shadowfell, a small noble family, or a cult.
Yeah.
To people like Stolius and Trati, hopefully Ernest, possibly Evithar if I can convince him, and then to yourselves, you are the people that I am leaving the Inexorables to, when I very likely in near futures am unable to assist and lead it anymore, or find myself in an arcane grave. I understand it is a lot to put on you. No, Thomas.
Sorry. That
God
was,
damn.
I clicked it too early.
Thomas, you
Damn it,
motherfucker.
Thomas.
It was such a
was
serious moment.
That was his last
Sorry.
one, too.
The poorest
That was my last
time
one.
soundboard ever.
You really need to wait those out, man.
That was me.
That was Jade. Either way, Lycus kind of... He's leaning on the table and just kind of says, I am sorry to put this on you, but I believe honesty is the best policy in this regard. So, if with that information you no longer want to be a part of this organization, no longer want to sign the document, you are welcome to do whatever you please. If you are, I don't even want your answers now. If you are wanting to continue to be a part of this mission, this plan, this brotherhood to protect our realm, be at the docks tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., preferably earlier. We will be departing at noon. with that, you see him kind of back up, and Entrati helps him up to his feet, and he takes his cane, and he waves his hand, and the runes are no longer a light for the anti-divination, and he nods to you and says, I hope you have a good night's rest. I hope to see you all in the morning. And he kind of begins hobbling into his bedchamber. Edmund just sitting there looks over to you, Rikus.
Yeah, I'm kind of like looking over him, just going like, just smacking, like kind of like doing like that, you know, dramatic smacking and breathing.
Y'all want to go get some heavy alcohol and join Leopold?
I have already had too much to drink to be processing all this information. Thank you very much. And we also do need to be at the docks at 10 a.m. tomorrow, and
we have 12 hours. It is fine.
Then we'll kind of just.
Yes.
I have research to do. And this
Yes,
is
we
only
have 12
whether-
hours, but Leopold here had 2 glasses of wine, so he's done.
I had far more than 2 glasses.
Oh yeah, you're right. You had 4 because I poured you the other 2.
Did you not?
They were
notice
fairly
the
large
bottles?
glasses. Don't mind you.
Did you not notice the bottles on the ground before you got in? Or you just forget? Regardless.
I figured Yvonne would keep count for you, but I guess we'll find out when we get back.
Yes.
Then we'll kind of just lean forward, put his head head is in his hands. It's like, I just wanted to study medicine. How did it come
Study
to
how the
this?
medicine of inebriation will help alleviate some of this stress.
It's not. It's not that, Rikus. Well, I've got some.
You know,
thinking to
when
do.
I have headaches in the morning, usually a good sip of breakfast ale helps go away.
Rikus, I'll be quite honest. I have never drank alcohol. Every time you all pass alcohol off to me at these meetings, I don't take a sip. So I
You think the group of investigators and scouts really think we didn't already know that?
oh,
Well, I didn't.
Come on, buddy.
I was also not particularly watching Lynn's drinking habits.
I've got some stuff to think about. Wayne, you said that you wanted me to check someone out before the night's end.
Pause.
Yeah. Gerald ain't feeling too great.
Well, let's get this house call over with then.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Edmund
Lynn will,
kind
like,
of looks
stand
over
up.
to you, Rikus, and says... Actually, he looks over to Rikus, and then he kind of looks over to Sakir and says, you two want to go grab some drinks? Maybe put that one to bed? He kind of motions over to Leopold.
That would be rather nice, thank you.
Alright, well, let's decide.
It's okay.
And he gets up.
Let's drop them off and grab Yvonne.
Hey,
She
I
could
made
probably
a habit.
outdrink all of us.
I've made a
Get
habit.
one look at her brother, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Look, I've made a habit of not handling firearms while drunk, as that is a particularly stupid idea. But if you do that, I am afraid I might have to give one to Yvonne, so she can shoot you. Wait.
It's not the first time I've been shot. Looks at Edmund.
So, with that,
I think it would be the
We're-
last time.
we are going to go, and we're going to start with medicine men. I loved Lennon just being like, I just wanted to study medicine, man. Look, you're the one who rolled the nat 20. He wouldn't have been so candid, okay? It's on you. It is on you, baby.
Lennon is just that good.
Man, I can't believe
To get the
our
anti-wish
party-
spell to wish for more wishes so he can cast wish again and not die.
Yeah.
I can't believe our party consists of 3 interdimensional aliens, a prodigal son, and a nervous med student.
Pretty much. Man,
Quote.
Quote! Put it in the book! Put it in the quotes!
I'm just trying to complete grad school, man.
Mind you, the 3 aliens is one, you know, 1 from uptown and, you know, 2 from the hood, so.
Quite effectively, yeah.
I mean, Wayne is that uptown girl.
Yeah, is the Astral Sea really uptown? It feels like the Astral
Yes.
Sea is more out of state.
Zach's Astral Sea is uptown.
My
It's-
Astral Sea is pretty
not,
uptown.
It's not uptown. It's upstate. Like we're talking, like
Whole bunch of rich people, but the gangs up there are way worse. That's all I'm gonna say.
you know, it's the super wealthy Italian gangs. You know,
Yeah.
that run insurance companies.
This isn't no Mexican cartel, okay? Anyways, so
So IRS.
yep.
I can't believe Wayne is part of the mafia back home. It's crazy.
So
Practically runs a mafia.
Wayne,
It's
Lennon.
true.
Mafia church. What's the
Lennon. So Wayne leads you into. There is no real bad part of Revenant. It's a very, very, very nice city, just kind of throughout. But it is one of the lower income regions of the city. And he leads you to a very, very small, thin, 2-story abode that seems to have been built for smaller people. It can habitate normal-sized people, but as soon as you get inside the facility, you see this little old gnome lady who has like tea and she's kind of sipping. You also see with both of your guys' like passive perception and investigation, there is just straight up a bottle of whiskey on the little table beside her on her reclining chair. That she's sipping this tea seems to just be completely loaded with whiskey as well. She does not notice you guys come in until you make yourselves known. She will continue to not notice. She is just
It's a nice, cozy place, Wayne.
It is.
He could
isn't
join
it?
us for the drinking.
There might be a few extra cookies left.
Oh,
Let's stop by the kitchen real quick.
as you step over to the kitchen, all of the shelves are like down around your knees to mid thigh at best. There is a plate of cookies. It seems a whole nother batch was made after you left Wayne.
Oh yeah.
So
I
there's
grab
just
These
four cookies
cookies
and
have-
hand one to Lynn, and I'll be like, "All right, now on to why we're here."
Yeah, of course. I'll put it. I'll have it for later once the call's done. Don't wanna contaminate my hands with food.
Shove 2 in each cheek, and go, "Oh yeah."
Oh, it's fine. Just prestidigitation, right?
Just to mess with him, I prestidigitate my hands, and 10 times as many crumbs just start falling off of my hands continually for the next 10 seconds. As I'm just like, "Ah."
Well, at least you can still do that. I can't do that anymore. Anyways, should we I guess that lady in the foyer, the wife of the is she the patient? The wife of
The wife.
patient? The wife. of the
Patient is upstairs.
Okay, should we? She seems kind of out of it. Should I check her as well?
She's probably fine. She's just drunk.
Okay.
She's probably stressed with how he's going.
That
They've been together for like 200 years.
is a while. All right. Well, let's see if we
Yeah,
can.
it's a little while.
Yeah. Hopefully we can give her some good news then. Let's go. The husband then.
His name is Jarrell.
Gerald. All right.
Jarrell.
Gerald. Yep.
Gerald.
Gerald.
Carl.
Oh.
Carl, that kills people. Next mission is just a pair of llamas that can talk. That's who you guys are hunting.
With hats.
With hats.
Oh,
Headbands of intellect.
as we're
Unfortunately, they are the last 2 Senate members we have to convince for enough votes.
very
Or
important.
else we won't have a majority.
As we're walking upstairs, I'll kind of like keep asking Wayne questions. So like, how many people live here? What's kind of like the quality of living? Like, how clean are they? Like, how healthy do they eat? How active are they? So, you know, those general doctor-y questions.
Bro, you're looking at no.
Yeah. It's a no.
Dude's probably survived off of like strawberry shortcake and dreams
And that could
of
be a
more
problem.
whiskey.
And I don't know
since
about
he
in
was, like, 2.
general, there's only 3 people in this household. There's Gerald, Martha, and then Percy, who's kind of their adopted son of a sorts. Periwinkle stays here sometimes, but it's very small for Periwinkle, so there is another place, another member of the church that kind of houses him most of the time. But Periwinkle spends most of his days here helping Gerald and Martha, as they are both very, very old gnomes. Lots and lots of high sugar and a surprising amount of alcohol that is all consumed in very short periods of time because they never drink while Percy is around.
I see.
Don't gnomes have like multiple livers or something? So they're able to just like, that's why they're able to outdrink everybody?
Yes, second and
Are
third.
you confusing that with dwarves?
No, dwarves just have
They
really,
just have a
really,
very
really
high
strong
constitution.
livers.
And what do these particular individuals do for daily activities? Like, do they work? Do they like do any physical activity? Are they just like couch potatoes?
They're not that, but they're not couch potatoes necessarily. They're like medium active.
Okay. And you said that how badly would you say he has deteriorated? I guess not deteriorated. How bad has his condition?
I'd say he's aged 60 years in 6 days,
Ooh, that
at least appearance-wise.
appearance wise, that doesn't sound good.
He
We'll
went from
see,
salt and pepper to Bilbo in the 3rd movie.
It's a movie.
And it's like, what the fuck is that
You
reference to?
almost had me do a spit take with that. I'm gonna be entirely honest. I had full mouth of Pepsi and almost went, yeah.
Damn it! I have to work on my delivery next time. Next time I'll get you.
It was Bilbo in the 3rd movie. Just.
Well,
He
let's
went
see.
from
what's
middle
up.
age to old as shit in 6 days.
Yeah, that's could be a number of things. Well, let's see what we're working with. Open door. Oh, he'll knock. he'll knock and then like open the door.
Yeah, you see the small bed with this little old gnome man inside of it. He is barely awake, and by barely awake, like he's not really talking or anything, barely notices you guys enter in, kind of almost in a lucid state in between sleep and being awake.
Alright.
Would you like to make a medicine check?
I would like to make a lot of checks, yes. Medicine first and foremost.
Medicine, investigation.
Yeah, a bit of religion because this is a religious household, right?
Religion check. Is he holding on to another deity statue?
Yeah. Okay, so yeah. Wayne, could you help me out here?
Yep.
Do you have proficient? Yeah. So aiding. So am I allowed to roll this at advantage?
Yes.
DM. All right.
Oh my gosh, Lennon! Alright, hit me with that investigation check. If you get another nat 20, I am going to go crazy.
Also at advantage or just normal?
Also at advantage. Oh, there we go.
You know, a bit worse.
Wait, hold up. Still a 22?
19 plus
Lennon,
3.
where the fuck were all these rolls like 2 sessions ago?
Lennon is not a combat person. He's utility.
Lennon's a
out of
skill
combat.
check
He gets
character.
that 20s out of combat.
Lennon is a researcher
can
through and through.
He's not even good at the things he's supposed to research. He's better at other things.
So, Lennon.
Yeah.
You kind of, taking advantage of the semi-lucid state, kind of pull back the blankets and begin looking around. The first thing you notice is the small puddle of urine, as he has pissed himself in the bed. There is a bucket of vomit beside him. Thomas, what the fuck?
Six finger licks it. I see.
It's like
So,
Aerated.
to, like, taking what Wayne told you earlier, like, fatigue, weakness, nausea, vomiting, all of that going on, unable to control one's bladder, could be old age, but that leads you to believe some other things. On top of that, you notice that, like, his hands and feet, and almost his face are almost a little bit, like, swollen up, almost as if he's retaining extra water. The skin, especially upon his forearms, looks irritated. And there's... Your immediate thought is like, okay, is he having any cramps? Has he eaten anything? And he hasn't really eaten anything. Like, just sitting around the room, there are multiple plates that are just still full plates of food, as they were brought
based
up
on
here
the
for him
taste
to
of his
eat.
piss. He hasn't
And
drank
nothing.
water in 70
Shut
years.
the fuck up. And and he's just not doing okay.
There's just plates of cake everywhere. What?
Yeah. And as he's sitting there, there's almost like a shortness of breath as well. Like he's not able to fully breathe in. After all of this, you're kind of looking around and you're like, this dude is suffering from some, likely suffering from some pretty major kidney, if not liver failure as well.
Dig it. Oh. Okay. Lynn will turn away and... So it's probably related to kidney or liver failure. Maybe both. Given what you told me from his general diet, not surprising, to say the least. How to fix? What can we do for those?
The best thing to fix this is, one, blood pressure is heavily a part of it, as that is heavily an aspect of diabetes. So finding ways to keep one's blood pressure low, which means low stress situations, eating better, being a little healthier, maybe getting out on a walk a little bit more, not riding periwinkle, you know, stuff like that. Once he's able to do that, if he's able to get to that point, will help, but he's already pretty far down the road.
Yeah, I'm trying to... Oh gosh, would this count as diabetes 1 or 2? Or it would be like 3?
This is diabetes 5.
No! Diabetes 5! No!
It's diabetes 5th edition. I just don't know if he's updated his 2024 rule set or not.
So,
It's pretty old.
the
Nah, man.
type 1 diabetes is, if memory serves, Jade, since you have a family member who has diabetes, which one does he have?
So, if it's genetic, then it would be a type 1.
Yeah.
If he's a fat guy, it's type 2.
Both are technically have genetic aspects, but one is like, you're
Well,
probably
you can be
gonna
more
have it just
predisposed to
genetically. Two is, you know, predisposition.
But
So-
more likely than not, since this is in America, he is type 1 diabetes.
This is
If he
not,
has
he
one.
is not in America.
Exactly.
So he might be so old that he's still playing AD&D, Advanced Dungeons and Diabetes.
My brother
you're-
is
you're telling
playing
me-
Dungeons and Dragons First Edition before it was called First Edition, and is casting some wild spells. If you get him in his party, I'll just use First Edition spell.
So you're telling me he's just an old diabetic that is developing grayscale.
Not grayscale. Holy no, not grayscale. He is an
You
old
said his skin
diabetic
had
whose
rashes
body
on it.
is shutting down
Okay.
due to Martha's crack cookies.
Dude, you could just say that he looked like he had hella jaundice.
No. Anyway, people who are a part of the scene. Continue.
That means liver failure, man. Oh, that's kidney. Yeah.
Okay. How do
So, hear me out. We go find a poor kid and give him some candy, and then you switch their liver, and you said kidneys? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he'll be fine then, right?
Unfortunately, you are partially correct. A recommended liver and kidney transplant would be an option.
Great, I'll be right back.
No, wait. We also could perform. Oh God, what was it called? A dialysis, was it? Do you know what those are? Are those a
Do
thing?
you know what those are?
Fucking hell. Let me look up the definition again. I always forget.
So dialysis is a treatment that removes extra fluid. It's kind of a way to remove waste products from your blood when your kidneys are unable to do so. It would help for sure.
Yeah. I have vague knowledge from like when I studied CDC papers for
Yeah.
science lab, back in the day, but
Well,
Can't-
dialysis is used in this occasion and especially another occasion called, I believe it's fatty liver disease.
he
Which-
probably has that as well. Let's be honest.
more than likely, just your body doesn't know how to process the food properly anymore, so it's just storing up this water weight,
Yeah.
and you're just ballooning. You can gain tens of pounds daily with that kind of disease in an enhanced situation. Now, he's a gnome. Like, he still weighs 50 pounds, but that's 20 pounds more than the average gnome. So...
Stick a straw in his belly button.
So DM, what could we do for him now and eventually, and I guess later, because we're leaving tomorrow. I'm definitely gonna leave a note saying, hey, this guy.
So what
probably
you
has
could
the-
do is you
Yeah.
could go back to the school and go to some of the people you were studying with and be like, "Hey, go take care
I
of
found a
this
fun
guy."
Yeah.
Because
That's what
Martha ain't gonna help out with her sugar cookies. I can
That
tell
was-
you that.
That was the plan with the note, right? It's like, hey guys, there's this guy.
Let's get scarce here.
Probably it scares here. But I'm talking like immediately, like tonight. What could I?
Immediately, you would probably be able to. You have a bag of holding. You have a lot of your medical tools in there. You probably would be able to pull out some sort of device that will help drain some of the swelling. So you can at least get a little bit. It's painful. You would have to give him some pretty heavy painkillers. Probably something that's gonna. He's already halfway there. Just put him out at this point. Drain some of the fluid from his body. Maybe give him a little bit of medicine. Some salts and such to help him regulate some of that urine. Maybe get him a new change of clothes.
Make a bit of opium into his cookie, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright,
I
we'll do.
wonder if a specific dagger would help suck things out.
It only does blood, unfortunately.
Hey,
Actually,
Fluid and blood.
here's the thing. If the
Blood.
kidney's not
Look,
working, that means there's nasty shit in the blood.
I'll say, look, this is medieval times. You all know leeches are in style.
Actually, I think when I was making Linen as a character, I specifically told DM that Lin would carry a jar of leeches, so he was just like eyeing a jar of leeches in his bag. He's like, no, not yet.
I mean, this would be a situation
not
where
the
leeches absolutely would be used for this time period.
Oh, I'm always confused at like how much,
How advanced they are.
Yeah. how industrial are we, and how
Industrial?
how-
Not. Knowledgeable? Somewhat.
Okay, so he's gonna put down the jar of leeches, gonna whip out his medical tools. Wayne, Lynn's gonna turn over to Wayne. Wayne, you got anything for painkillers? I don't know if I want to use something this strong on him in this weakened state.
Believe I'm fresh out.
I've got the best painkiller of all, Eldritch Blast.
True.
Basically.
Okay. Basically, yeah. Okay. Well, we'll just have to do this manually then.
I would like you to. I'm going to let you have advantage again. Medicine check. You already rolled a nat 20, so this DC is lower. Like, you know, you kind of diagnosed the issue. Now it's, hey, let's put some work into it.
Okay. Man, if only I could use. So, that would be a funny thing. Anyways.
Rolls a 1.
Yeah.
Rolls double ones.
Can I? Oh boy.
Literally kills him.
Could I cast guidance or bless on myself?
You could cast guidance. Bless wouldn't do anything. Bless is attack and saving throws.
This is an attack roll. Let's be honest.
No, it's not. Guidance. Add a d4. Come on.
Okay. 1d4 advantage. What do we get? Okay,
Ooh,
20.
24, baby. So you're able to successfully drain away quite a bit of the water. You're able to get some of the bad blood out. You kind of take the leeches out. Obviously, there's not a lot of blood in there. He's a small gnome. So without ability to replace a lot of that blood, you don't want to take too much out. By the time you leave that evening, you kind of take the whole, pill, the painkiller pill, and you kind of, cut an eighth of it off and give it to him.
Just flip it in.
Yeah, just to help. But he does seem to be slightly better than when you got there, but it'll be probably a couple days before you see any major changes, if those changes come.
Lennon, before he leaves, he'll I assume, Lennon assumes Wayne is just living here. He'll write a letter of introduction, and symptoms, and it's since we're leaving tomorrow, give this to his wife and have her take it over to the college, and they will send someone over to check him out.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
Lennon's gonna start the opium epidemic.
Long story short, once he gets better, just healthier lifestyle, be more active, keep the blood sugar and blood pressure down. Not sure if you know.
That might be difficult.
Yeah, not sure if they know what that is, but with some effort, he can definitely pull through.
It's great news. Appreciate you coming over here and helping out. I can heal a lot of things, but this is different.
Sometimes I wish I had your healing ability, Wayne. It would make surviving combat situations a lot easier for me.
That is fair. You've seen the other side a few more times than the rest of us, that's for sure.
Yeah. Maybe one day I'll actually go down, but... Well, I guess that's why I travel with you guys now. You guys keep me alive, at least.
There's that.
Yep. Anyways, I needed it. Thanks for... I know this isn't appropriate, but thanks for dragging me out here. Or thanks for calling me over. I kind of needed this distraction with everything going on. Just having a chance to be more to work closer to the ground and just work on a simple, non-world threatening problem is nice once in a while.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it. I can always find you some simple, down-to-earth problems.
I guess just keep it tame.
No promises.
That's fair, given what we were. Well, see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, Lennon.
As Lennon walks off into the night.
As you guys are leaving, As you close the door behind him, you turn over and you, Wayne, just see Martha just passed out in the chair. You see a little like travel bag packed and set by the door that you assume to be Percy's, all packed and ready to go. And you're just like, all right, we'll have to get him back in to treat the AIDS epidemic in my congregation.
What? What's that mean? Oh no.
Either way, so that is where we're going to end our session. We'll begin next session, a possible short conversation between Edmund and the Anadeus brothers before getting on the boat to Suno.
I think that there won't be a thrilling 5-hour conversation between Leopold and Yvonne?
I can only flirt with you so much, Aiden. Anyway.
How much more is Leopold going to drink now that he knows Lycus is dying relatively soon?
Yeah, no, Zach,
remains
you
to be
see
seen.
why I wanted you to be part of this, why I wanted everyone here for this session. Anyway, so I hope you guys
I'm just
enjoyed.
excited that Edmund and I are gonna go out drinking with Yvonne and just leave Leopold in his bed.
Yeah, either way, so we'll start next session with that. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Lots of information, a lot more to come. Y'all have a good evening.
Pause.
We'll see y'all next week.
We still have to visit Gislin.
See ya.